In the fairylands, the grandest kingdom was called Roshni, a realm shimmering with light and magic. And the most precious treasure of that kingdom was its only princess, Izabella. Her mother had passed away long ago, and her father, the king, raised her with boundless love and care. She was his pride, his very soul. Being an only daughter, her every wish was law. Every desire was fulfilled instantly. Her chamber was filled with the rarest and most luxurious things in the world: silk curtains, golden walls, and jewels sparkling in every corner. Dozens of handmaidens attended her at all times. Some combed her hair with golden combs. Some carried bowls of milk and honey. Others held shimmering gowns and jeweled slippers. Izabella knew she was breathtakingly beautiful, and that knowledge filled her heart with pride. She believed no one in the world could ever match her. One day, the king said lovingly,
"My daughter, it is time you marry."
Only if my 4 conditions are fulfilled.
"Tell me, what is your first condition?" "The first condition. My wedding will take place in a palace built entirely of gold and diamonds." The king immediately gave the order. Miners dug deep into mountains for diamonds. Pearls and gemstones were fetched from the depths of rivers. Months passed, and finally, a palace was completed, one that shimmered like daylight itself. Its walls sparkled like stars, and its ceilings were covered in gold. Izabella looked at the palace, smiled proudly, and said,
"This condition is fulfilled."
"The second condition. On the day of my wedding, the riches of the entire world must be laid at my feet." Messengers were sent across kingdoms. From oceans came pearls, from mountains came rubies, emeralds, and sapphires. Soon the great halls of the palace overflowed with jewels. Izabella glanced at them and said calmly,
"This too is done."
"The third condition. I want a gift that is eternal, that never dies." Princes from faraway lands arrived, each bringing their rarest treasures: a magical sword, a golden bird.
"No, not that either."
Then one day, a simple young man came to the palace gates. His clothes were old, his shoes dusty, but in his hand he carried a small glowing flower. The guards laughed at him, but somehow the flower reached Izabella. As soon as it entered her room, the air filled with a strange fragrance and light. Izabella held the flower in her hands, but her pride took over again. "How dare this beggar enter my palace? Throw him out." The boy was humiliated and expelled. He said nothing, only smiled and walked away. The fourth condition. Now Izabella declared, "I will marry only when my heart truly laughs." The king tried everything: jesters, magicians, singers, dancers, but Isabella's face remained cold and expressionless. One afternoon, while wandering alone in the royal gardens, Izabella heard a melody floating from the distant forest. It was so sweet and gentle that she stopped in her tracks. It was the sound of a flute. Curious, she followed the sound and found the same simple boy, Andrien, sitting beneath a tree, playing his flute. The tune carried such magic that Izabella stood still, listening, lost in its depth. Day after day, she returned secretly to the garden, just to hear that music again. Without realizing it, her pride began to melt away. And one day, as Andrien played a soft, soulful melody, Isabella's lips curved into a real, heartfelt smile, the first of her life. That moment fulfilled her final condition. She understood that true joy doesn't live in gold or jewels, but in the purity of a heart.
"Whom will you marry, my daughter, Princess Izabella?"
"I desire nothing, no palace, no treasure, no jewels. I wish to marry Andrien." The court was in shock. Messengers searched for him, but Andrien had vanished. Izabella grew restless. Every night, she remembered the melody of his flute echoing in her heart. One moonlit night, she left the palace alone. The forest was silent and silver under the moonlight. After a while, she heard that familiar tune again, near a glowing waterfall. There he was, sitting by the water, playing his flute. Izabella ran to him, tears streaming down her face. "I called you a beggar. I cast you out. But now I know I need nothing but you." Andrien smiled quietly and drew her into his arms. Chapter 5. The Wedding of True Love. On the wedding day, the palace gleamed with light. Guests whispered in astonishment, "The princess is marrying a poor man?" But when the wedding procession arrived, every mouth fell silent. Riding a golden horse, surrounded by royal guards, Andrien appeared, dressed as a true prince. He was, in truth, a prince of a neighboring kingdom who had disguised himself to test the heart of the proud princess. Standing beside Izabella, he said, "This is the most expensive wedding in the world, not because of gold or diamonds, but because its price is true love." Rose moral of the story: no matter how great one's pride, love and truth always find their way through. The real treasure is not what shines, but what illuminates the heart.